Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back. It's Youth Wednesdays here on the Tobago Updates morning show. And this morning we're chatting with Dr. Denise Tsoiafatt Angus, and she is the political leader of the Innovative Democratic Alliance. Good morning, Dr. Angus. Happy to have you here with us this morning.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Okay, great. So let's start talking about the Carnival, the recently concluded Tobago Carnival. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, I have a lot of questions because for me, it's not just numbers on the road. It goes further than that. And if we look at the numbers on the road and you go to what Caribbean Airlines reported, they actually reported maybe about 1,000 people less than came the previous year. But we're going beyond just heads and heads on beds and heads on road, bodies on the road. I want us to look at, they say 12 million was invested, or just about. Where was that 12 million invested in? What did the people eat? Did they, when they went to the supermarkets might have been full, but did they buy local foods such that our local providers were then urged to provide more products? Or were they buying imported products? The mass, was the mass locally made or was the mass imported? Our music trucks, I understand many of our music trucks in Tobago did not get work. So the music trucks were imported. The musicians, the singers, how many of our Tobago singers actually got work? You saw a lot of Trinidad artists headlining the different activities. So when you look at the whole carnival picture and you ask yourself, where did the 12 million go? Did it stay in Tobago or is it now elsewhere? That's the big question.
Definitely a very thought-provoking question. As we're on the topic of the how the allocation was done, let's chat a little bit about the marketing leading up to the Tobago Carnival itself. We saw that this year they had T-shirts printed with the dates on it to start marketing the Tobago Carnival for next year. But in terms of the marketing for this year's Tobago Carnival, can you share your thoughts on that with us?
Well, marketing was very poor. I think we all agree. The marketing, 2 months before the event, that's when the date was released, that's when mobilization happened. The secretary did not even know what the budget was, a month before the event or a couple of weeks before the event. So it really, the marketing was not well done. Yes? But for me, the people will come because people are excited about this new concept called Tobago Carnival. What I am more concerned about is after we have had that weekend, what are we left with in Tobago? Are we any better off than the few dollars that was spent for the hoteliers, than the few dollars that was spent in the supermarket? What about the true trickle-down effect throughout the society? Did the rest of the society feel the impact on the economy of having a Tobago Carnival event in Tobago? And this is why we have to start going beyond event management to industry production. Because if we are talking about an industry, and we take, for instance, our local market, how do you begin to get those who are coming from elsewhere to start looking at our local products that our local people are producing, which are of very high quality? It's just that people don't know about them and have not experienced them. Can we consider having a Tobago aisle in some of the supermarkets in Trinidad. And there are many other Tobagonians living in Trinidad than living in Tobago. Can we begin there so people begin to experience the products? So by the time they come back next year, they are searching for those products in our supermarkets. Then is when you begin to get the full trickle-down effect. The mass. How are we getting and communicating with our mass people such that they are prepared to put on the mass and to generate the mass product coming out of Tobago, rather than we importing the mass from Trinidad into Tobago? What training programs are going to be put in place to upskill our people and to ensure that they can provide the numbers that are there? What policy will be put in place such that you are getting your locals to partner with others from elsewhere, such that you are, you can call it a true Tobago Carnival? How do we ensure that our music trucks are not just sidelined for the whole carnival? That was their experience. After being part of a product in February for so many years, to come where you finally call it a Tobago Carnival and they're excluded totally, that's unheard of.
Okay, and earlier on we were chatting about Tobagonian soca artists not having that opportunity to headline a lot of the events that took place here on the island. I know one event that the division would have put on was the Soca Titans series, where they would have had, that training with different soca artists and that kind of thing. Do you see something like that, boosting or improving the talents of young Tobagonian artists so that maybe they can be on that level of Trinidadian soca artists, so that maybe one day they can headline shows here on the island?
Listen, we got to be serious about building an industry. And so throwing a few classes just before an event is not going to help us. We are, the Tobago economy right now is really crashing. And we have to start thinking differently. How do we rebuild the economy? We have a number of persons coming out. I think it's 64% of our workforce don't have subjects or any type of certification between 0 to 4 subjects. Why aren't we having a college of the arts where we are actually certifying our calypsonians, our mass people in wire bending and designing and those things, our pan people in not just playing pan, but tuning pan, becoming arrangers, all of that. So you're building an industry around the product such that by the time you are ready to host your event, you're showcasing many of them. And so, we need a school for the cultural arts in Tobago that speaks to really creating excellence in our people, whether it is the kaiso, the soca, the pan, the heritage dances, whatever it is. We are creating a school of the arts. And you will find that over time, we begin to attract people from elsewhere who want to attend the school. And at the end of the day, we know that when we put on an event and you have to sponsor the event, that a lot of the money stays within the coffers of the Tobago economy such that we begin to grow. And we break the backs of this thing we call the failing economy right now, which is quite serious. I don't think we realize how bad it is. And I think it's a disservice that this administration has not said to the people where we are in terms of the economy and be truthful with the people of Tobago. We cannot move ourselves forward as a people if we don't understand the true implications of it. And the people on the ground are feeling it. They feel it, but it's just that they don't know what the impact has been. Where is it coming from? And they need to share with us, and they need to share with us their ideas in terms of how they're taking us out of this.
Okay, and Dr. Angus, we would have recorded an incident-free carnival this year. How do you think that differentiates the Tobago Carnival from other carnivals? Do you think that that will encourage persons to continue coming out and supporting the Tobago Carnival?
It's a number of years that, having an incident-free carnival in Tobago is nothing new. When I was the Secretary of Community Development and Culture, we had those days. So it's nothing new in Tobago, and that's the beauty of Tobago, that we have always promoted it as one of the safest places to come and revel. And we used to call it revel and relax in the same moment. And so it's not a new thing. Perhaps it's new in the spate of all the crime that we've been having on the island, and perhaps we need to give kudos to all of those inconvenienced roadblocks that we've been having, because it's an inconvenience to people. But clearly those roadblocks by the police and licensing office would have contributed to also us having a safe carnival event in Tobago.
Yeah, and before we wrap up, recently we would have seen some things right after the carnival in the news, headlining on some of the media houses, their newspapers, and we've also heard some comments from the president of the National Carnival Commission, Winston Gypsy Peters. Can you give your comments on that as the political leader of the IDA?
Everything is relationship building. I mean, we would like to say that this is the first or second carnival in Tobago, but carnival has been hosted in Tobago for a number of years, over the years, in February. Yeah? So there are pieces to build on from there. I don't know what is the relationship between the two. They seem to be going at each other's throats. But at the end of the day, you have to find ways to work with people, to listen. And if this administration could have gone as far as Grenada to get ideas and support on what a carnival should look like in Tobago, I see no problem with them having a conversation with the NCC to understand, or maybe to hear from them, what their perspectives are. And when you're building a product, you have to reach out to all stakeholders and get their feedback as to what they see from their angles, and then you build it. It doesn't mean that you hire NCC to come in here and do a carnival. That's not what it means. But it does not hurt to listen to what they have to say, but especially it is time to call the local stakeholders together, the mass people, the pan people, the Kaiso people, the music truck people, and sit down and have a talk with Tobagonians about where this carnival is going. Because if we don't, then we will always continue to have an event held in Tobago, but not one that sufficiently contributes to the development of Tobago and the enhancement of the Tobago economy.
Okay, well, Dr. Angus, we're actually strapped for time. I want to thank you so much for coming and chatting with us this morning about the recently concluded Tobago Carnival 2023. We hope that sometime soon we can have you back to speak about probably something else, or even continue conversation about
Absolutely.
this. So viewers, we're going to head to a break. We're going to be right back. Remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.